You got a car?
No, I was gonna take a cab.
Oh, no, I have a car.
The world woke up in disbelief. Diane Keaton, the woman who defined charm, wit, and timeless Hollywood grace, was gone. At 79, the star who gave us Annie Hall and Something's Gotta Give left quietly. No farewell tour, no last interview, just silence. But the shock didn't end there, because for 7 long days, Warren Beatty, the man she once called a dream come true, remained completely silent. No statement, no tribute, nothing. And then, 1 week later, everything changed. A single handwritten letter surfaced, sent privately to Diane's family. Short, emotional, and decades overdue. When a few lines leaked, they didn't just make headlines, they broke hearts. Because inside that letter, Warren Beatty, now 88, finally said the words he couldn't bring himself to say for over 40 years. What was written inside? What truth did he carry all these years? This is the untold story of love, regret, and the final confession that shook Hollywood to its core. At that time, Diane Keaton was already a force of nature. After winning an Academy Award for Annie Hall, she had become one of the most admired actresses in the world. Intelligent, unpredictable, and fiercely independent. Warren Beatty, already an established legend in both acting and directing, was preparing his most ambitious project yet. He wasn't just creating a movie, he was creating history. But in doing so, he was also creating something else. A love story that would define both their lives. On the set of Reds, Diane Keaton and Warren Beatty were lovers, collaborators, and co-stars. But the line between passion and power began to blur. Warren, as director, was known for his perfectionism. He demanded countless retakes, sometimes reshooting a single scene more than 50 times. Crew members recalled one moment when Diane delivered a flawless performance. Yet Warren simply said, "Again." No explanation, no correction, just again. A member of the crew later revealed that everyone could see the toll it was taking. She didn't complain, he said, but her eyes began to change. Miriam Margolies, who also starred in the film, once admitted that she had to intervene, protesting Warren's behavior to protect Diane. "I had never seen anyone push an actress that far," she recalled, and she endured it all just to make the film as Warren wanted it to be. For Diane Keaton, love and confinement came wrapped in the same frame. Professionally, she was unstoppable, at the peak of her artistry. Yet behind that brilliance, she was slowly losing herself. Warren Beatty's influence, both artistic and emotional, grew suffocating. While others on set were free to experiment, Diane was expected to deliver every line, every glance, exactly as Warren envisioned. When Reds finally premiered, it became a cinematic triumph. But behind the curtain, their relationship had quietly fractured. After the film's release, Diane began to withdraw. She skipped press events, appeared beside Warren only at a few major screenings, and then disappeared from the public eye. The emotional distance between them widened until silence replaced affection. In later interviews, Diane reflected, "I don't think I'm made for a shared life. I don't have the patience, and I don't want to be dependent." When Reds ended, so did their relationship. Not through anger, but quiet separation. Diane chose solitude and self-reliance. She adopted 2 children, built a life of privacy, and focused on work that defined her own voice. Yet those closest to her said Warren Beatty never truly left her heart. Visitors noticed a small photo of Warren tucked away in her office. Never displayed, never moved. Meanwhile, Warren carried her memory in silence. He once admitted softly, "She made me feel small, in the best possible way." And though years passed, their connection never faded. Every year, on the same date, Diane sent a blank card to Warren's Beverly Hills home. No words, no message, just silence that spoke volumes. Warren, too, had his quiet acts of care. Once, during the filming of another project, he asked the team to reschedule production because Diane was dealing with a personal family matter. Even though she wasn't part of the film, no one questioned his decision. They all knew why. Later, A friend recalled Warren saying privately, "Diane is a chapter I never want to close." As time went on, Diane's life took a more secluded turn. She devoted herself to her children, to photography, and to writing. She stayed active in film but refused to let fame consume her. Interviews became rare, public appearances even rarer. Her love life remained her own. When asked about Warren, she always replied with quiet respect. "He's a very intelligent and capable person," she'd say, leaving it at that. Then came the final chapter. By early 2025, Diane began stepping back from the public eye altogether. She canceled a planned photography exhibition and turned down all invitations to award shows and interviews. In March, she suddenly decided to sell her Los Angeles home, a place she had called her sanctuary for decades. Friends were surprised, but she offered no explanation. Her last post on social media came in April, a simple photo of her sitting with her golden retriever, smiling faintly. There was no caption, no mention of her health, no hint that it would be her final message to the world. After that, her account went silent. Then, on the morning of October 11th at precisely 8:08 a.m., emergency services received a call from Diane's residence. When they arrived, she was unconscious. She was rushed to the hospital, but never regained consciousness. Later that day, Diane Keaton was pronounced dead. Her family confirmed her passing, but kept the cause private. There was no public funeral, just a small, quiet ceremony at home, attended only by close relatives. No cameras, no celebrity appearances, just peace. And then came the letter. Exactly 1 week after her death, Warren Beatty broke his silence, but not through the press, not in front of cameras. He sent a single envelope to Diane's family, handwritten, dated, signed. Inside, he called her by the name only he had used, D. The letter began simply, "I tried to stop loving you, but I couldn't." In the next lines, Warren admitted that his silence over the years wasn't indifference. It was fear. "I was afraid my words would ruin the memory," he wrote. "So I kept everything as it was." He even mentioned the filming of Reds, confessing something that stunned everyone who read it. "I made you do those takes," he wrote, "not because I needed more film, but because I needed to see you longer." There was no apology, only truth. It wasn't a love letter in the traditional sense. It was a confession, the kind of honesty that comes only after a lifetime of regret. He ended it with one final line, underlined by hand. "You're always what I've kept, even when I've lost so much else." Diane's family confirmed the letter's authenticity. They chose not to release it in full, but those sentences alone were enough to move millions who heard them. It was the first and only time Warren Beatty had ever spoken so personally about her. After sending it, he disappeared from public view. He declined interviews, canceled appearances, and refused to comment further. A friend revealed that he had rewritten the letter several times before sending it. He didn't want it to sound formal, the friend said. He wanted it to sound real. And it was. For more than 3 decades, Warren had spoken of Diane only in fragments, short, respectful comments in interviews. But this was different. This was raw emotion, finally unsealed. A friend of Diane's who read the excerpt later said, "She probably didn't need that when she was alive, but if she read it now, she'd smile." In the end, their story wasn't about fame or awards, or even the movies that made them legends. It was about something far more human, the kind of love that lingers quietly long after the world stops watching. Diane Keaton lived her life with integrity, wit, and independence. Warren Beatty carried her memory in silence until the day he finally found the courage to speak. He never replaced her, and she never truly let him go. Their love story had no reunion, no dramatic ending, no Hollywood closure. But maybe it didn't need one. Maybe, for some people, the story never ends. It just changes shape. And perhaps that's what Warren meant when he once said privately, "Diane is a chapter I never want to close." Because in the quiet spaces between words, in the distance between two souls who once shared everything, love can still survive. It may fade from the screen, but it never fades from the heart. If Diane Keaton's grace and courage moved you, and Warren Beatty's final words touched your heart, let this story remind you, not all love stories are played on screen. Some are whispered in silence and remembered forever. If you felt their story, like, share, and subscribe for more untold Hollywood legends that still make hearts believe. Thanks for watching.